My name is Ken Hutto, and I'm the Product Development Manager for FMC's Turf and Ornamental Herbicide and Fungicide portfolio. I'd like to spend a few minutes talking with you about dollar spot management. When we talk about dollar spot, this is certainly a very common disease among golf courses. Doesn't matter if you're in a cool season environment like this. This is a creeping bentgrass fairway or warm season turf. It is certainly one that can be very prolific beginning in the spring and all the way into the fall. So we need to be mindful of how we manage this, and we make sure that we are incorporating management practices to stay on top of this disease, get ahead of this disease, so that we can produce quality turf grass conditions. So a couple of things to keep in mind when we're talking about dollar spot management. First, let me say, this is a disease that recently has been reclassified. So the new genus that you'll hear in different talks by university professors is Claridia. There's two different species that are common here in the United States. I won't get into those, but just to be mindful of that. It used to be called Sclerotinia homeocarpa, and now it's going to be referred to as Claridia. So we talk about management of this disease. This is a disease that occurs in, say, low 80, mid 80s degree temperatures, but you have that extended leaf period or extended leaf wetness period. You get the heavy dews in the morning, and you see that mycelium develop very early when that dew is on the turf. So we want to make sure that we are managing the turf effectively. Okay, so how do we do that? The basic fundamentals of turf grass management. So making sure that the turf is adequately fertilized, the irrigation needs are being met, anything to reduce that stress to keep that turf as competitive as possible. The other things that we can do, like we mentioned, leaf wetness, we need to manage the leaf wetness. However we can reduce that period of time that plant material is wet, the more significant of an impact we can have on that disease development. So in the morning, implementing practices like dragging hose or rolling or mowing, all of these have shown to reduce dollar spot severity, and that's been proven in the research over the years. So keep those in mind. And then finally is managing the thatch layer, incorporating practices like sand top dressing, core cultivation, verticutting, anything we can do to dilute that sand, that thatch layer is going to be very helpful when we're talking about dollar spot, because this is a disease that can harborage and overwinter in the thatch layer. And so if we're not properly managing that thatch layer, this disease can be more and more difficult to control. As we're talking about fungicide programs, you've heard some information, I'm sure, about early applications and getting a jump start on reducing that inoculum early in the season, and I think that has shown to be very effective. But also incorporating different tools. Rayora is a new tool on the market by FMC. It's a new DMI fungicide that can be very effective, either a preventative or curative situation when we're talking about dollar spot management. Rayora has the ability to quickly get into the plant and move up through the xylem into the leaf tissue, where dollar spot can be very damaging. And so that's what you need in a dollar spot product. You want something that gets in there and protects that plant very quickly, whether it's preventing that pathogen from entering the cells of the plant, or curatively dropping down the activity of the pathogen. Either situation, Rayora has been shown to be very effective. Where we also want to be mindful of is rotating chemistries. Okay, in certain situations where resistant or insensitive isolates have developed, I'm sure you've heard those terms. Real quickly, the main difference between those terms is, in its simplest form, resistance is a situation where a pathogen is no longer responding to a 1x rate of fungicide. Whereas in sensitive populations, they have more to do with a difference in residual control. So say 10 years ago, a product may have provided you 21 days of residual. Well, now, because of continuous use of that same mode of action, you're only getting 10 days of control, or 10 days of residual. So that's the difference between resistance and insensitive. So be mindful of the modes of action that you're using in your program. Rotate them effectively. Each label should now have on the front panel of that label a group number. So make sure you're rotating to a different group number, not just a different chemical name. So keep those things in mind. Rayora, whether you're managing greens at a 14-day interval or a fairway in a 14 to 21-day interval, it's a very effective product for preventative control. And if for some reason you have an outbreak or the environmental conditions really shift over to dollar spot development, you can come in with Rayora, clean it up because of its great curative activity. So keep those things in mind as you're developing your dollar spot management program. I hope they help. Make sure we're incorporating all the tools. Don't forget that we need all of them working together, taking care of the turf, core cultivation practices, all of this coupled with fungicide applications are what is needed to have a successful dollar spot management program. So I wish you well, and I hope that your growing season has gone well and will continue to do so. Take care, and we'll talk soon.